Hey guys, I'm Radio Guy, bringing you the next series part of the 2025 Ford F-150 install. Now, I was able to get the Built-Right mount put in, but I'll show you that in just a minute here. And you know, to say 30 minutes to an hour is I'll call that a understatement of time to be able to have this thing installed. If you know what you're doing and you do this every day, it's probably going to be just fine. It took me about an hour just to get the cord to go from the radio to the remote head, fished down through the dash, and to get that, yes, it's warm out here, to get that to work and feed where I want it to feed. I'm doing this by myself. Didn't have a lot of extra hands to help. So I'm down under the driver's feet area, trying to reach up into the dash, feed a line down into it at the same time, and get it to bend and twist the right direction where I need it to go. That created some challenge. Next, as I was trying to get the mount installed, went actually fairly easy. Follow the directions that Built-Right gives, and the video install, you'll do it to a T. Had no problems whatsoever. But I had to take it back out, and it was in the back of the vehicle on the tailgate, and I lost a screw in the grass. So that was no fun. Tried to find that, digging around, bounced off my shoe, felt it, never did see it again, don't know where it went. Had to go to the hardware store and get me another one. So there was a half hour, 45 minutes lost right there. The next thing was I started putting it back together. Had the string that I'm using to be able to pull the remote head wire up through, and because I've got to get an extended cable, my cable was about 10 or 12 foot, and I'm about 3 feet short from reaching the remote head going from the radio to the front dash. So that created another problem. So I had to stop and make that order today, and luckily that should be here, shipping on Monday, should be here Tuesday, Wednesday. But I've got a string in place where I can just pull that right up through, and hopefully that will work just fine. And I'm looking forward to that, making that work. I don't want to have to tear the front dash back out apart again. My goal is to avoid that. We'll see how that goes. So as I was putting it back in one time, I lost a string down in there, and I'd had the knot tied, but I had to take the thing back off, had it untie for a second, go back and adjust something. I don't remember what it was now. And the next thing I know is the string's down in the dash again. It's lost. So I had to go fish that. That only took me about 10 minutes this time. I luckily knew what I was doing this time and where I needed to go with it. And that made it a lot easier to get done. So, again, follow the video that Built-Right sends for this dash mount. And I think you'll do just fine. Having the kit for the plastic trim kits for your vehicle is an absolute necessity. That thing has come, it's so invaluable. It's unbelievable. For the 25, 30 bucks you spend on it, well worth in saving your dash versus using a screwdriver or something like that. Plastic trim tool did wonders for me, and I really made it worthwhile. If you're going to do any vehicle installs, you got to have a kit like that to be able to do it. The next thing was just getting the bolts installed in the dash. And let me see if I can flip this around and show you up in the dash and what this thing looks like now. Let's go over to there. All right, so we've got the dash mount here. This is kind of where the radio is going to sit. What I'm going to do is actually do a little bit of a ball joint and drop this down so it's just a little bit more lower here, so it's not quite blocking the view of the vision of the vehicle. I have it up a little bit now just because I readjusted it a few minutes ago, but that's not where it's going to be. Ultimately, I'm going to drop it down just a little bit more. But you'll see the Built-Right dash mount, and it's in here, and you'll see my string that I've got pulled. That looks really, you can see how that looks good in there. So you can see the bolts. You can kind of see the nut in there, or the screw I should say, with a little washer on it. So that one's fine. There's another one that should be about right there. I drilled a hole for, but the way they designed this, you can't really get to that hole very well, except at a little bit of an angle. So through like maybe one or two of those slots there. None of those over there really line up with it well. In fact, you can kind of see that it's kind of doesn't line up with it at all. And there's one more right, if I can get the camera to turn and angle, one right there. And that one's fairly easy in the center to be able to get to on that, mounting that metal plate. But that one wasn't so bad to do. But the others, again, on the back side are a little tougher. So you definitely want the forward-facing ones, and the ones that are closest to the front are the easiest to mount. So you'll definitely want those for sure. And anyway, that is the Built-Rite mount, and that's what it's going to look like inside the truck. And I've got the rope there to be able to pull that cable through for the remote head cable when that comes in, probably Tuesday or Wednesday. So anyway, we'll do another review or another video yet on power and doing electronics. And from there, we'll get the rest of it set up and show you the complete mount and install. But this is really about the Built-Rite mount here, and we'll talk about the radio and all that and the electrical power being pulled in another video, which should probably be the final video of the series at this point. Everything will be pretty much mounted, installed, and powered once we get that going. So I decided, as part of the series, other than making a second video for just doing the power, I was going to go ahead and add it to this video for doing the power run from the battery all the way down to the back of the radio. And I'm going to show you where I ran those cables and how I installed them as part of this. So let's open up the hood, and let's start taking a look at the power and how I ran it and how I did the ground wires as well. So we've got the hood opened up here. I'm just zoom in on the battery here. You can see I've connected this one red wire to the battery terminal, and it's then shoved into this loom, and it is ran all the way up. Should probably be a little tighter than maybe it is. Ran all the way across to the other side here. And then it goes down. You can see the red wire again coming in through there. And there is a bigger wire loom that all the kind of electrical wires are going to the inside in. So let's go to the inside and trace this from the other side where this comes in. But this is how I kind of ran just a single power wire, because I'll show you where I did my ground here in the back of the vehicle closer. So I only had to run one wire to this point. Okay, so you can kind of see the video, with a little bit of light shining in here. I'm trying to use the flashlight to highlight it. Comes in through there, comes along this channel, and then goes down along this whole channel of the truck, along the driver's side. Comes right back down along the channel of the back seat, and then goes up behind the back seat there just a little bit with the wires, and comes in down below right here to this fuse box. And from there, then I have a power wire running. Sorry for any glares of the light. It's midday here, but just getting those glares of light coming through. It comes in and powers to the radio there. So that's where that's coming in at, and that's how that's being fused. Now my ground wire, it's also hooked in. You can kind of see it right there, the black wire. If I fold the back seat down, it is coming up the back side and coming up right along this channel here. And you'll see how it's connected to the frame of the truck right through this bolt right there. And that's where that black ground wire is coming to. So it's going right to the grounding of the truck and connected. And that's where that's all powered. And that's how I ran my power for this whole thing. So I am fusing the line, and you know, it's running a 15 amp fuse through there. So that is how I ran my power. And I mounted the radio, I'll call it on a pine board that was it's about 18 inches long, and It's mounted the radio on there, mounted that fuse panel on there. This is just behind the back seat here, or under the seat in the F-150. So the other wires I ran down around, and they are kind of going under this plastic mat, this WeatherTech mat in the back of my truck. And it runs, well, no, sorry. I ran it down along the back seat here, under the driver's seat. Probably can't see them under there. And then I have it running up to right along this edge. Get my finger out of the way. Right along this edge here. And I've got a wire going back up under here. And that's where it goes to the remote head coming out in the dash. If I can capture that or not, you'll see the wire coming out there at least. And that goes to the radio head. And then this one comes around and just serves for the microphone. And I've kind of got it, mostly hidden this little cubby here. I've got a LiDo mount. I'm going to be mounting it right here on the dash, so that the way my microphone will sit there. So just haven't got it done yet, but that's where that's going to go. So that is the power and the wiring for the truck that I've ran for the F-150. Thanks for joining me as part of this 5-part video series covering the accessorizing of the 2025 Ford F-150. In these various videos, I did cover the tonneau cover, the mud flaps, the bulletproof diesel third brake light mount, the compact antenna, and the bullet point dash mount and install. While you didn't see a whole lot of the bullet point dash install video because of just the challenges that it was already in putting that together, you did kind of see how I pulled the wires up to the dash, feeding it up through there, and I discussed some of that as well. In that final video series, you also saw how I wired the vehicle, going from the battery back to a fuse holder. This has been a really fun part to be able to do, and I enjoyed being able to share this with you. The most challenging thing was probably running the wire from the firewall or through the firewall and getting that done. If I had 2 people, it would have been a lot easier. These projects always, I think, go a lot easier when you do have 2 people. But I was able to, for the first month or 2, I just ran on battery power for the radio, and that worked out really well too. But you have to just keep charging the battery somehow as you're going, and so that was not going to be a long-term feasible solution. So I had to get power through, and I was able to finally kind of use a wire to get through the firewall with the other loom that was going through, as you saw in the video. Total, it is very costly to run some of these different mounts, and it wasn't cheap and easy. But I think each vehicle has its own persona, and this vehicle has the look of a very stealth mode type of vehicle. And while I enjoy amateur radio and being a part of it, I don't necessarily always need to advertise, hey, I've got radios and antennas inside here to someone who could potentially break in and steal, radios or other accessories I might have. So keeping it more low key, a little bit more stealth, was the persona I went with for this vehicle. And I still have an HF antenna to install, and that will probably be taken, the Breedlove mount will be taken from the 2015 truck and moved to the 2025 truck. It should still fit the same pocket. I don't think that design has changed at all. I will still use the ATAS 120 as my HF antenna. It's been a great antenna to use with my 891. I'd like to see another radio besides the 891 put in there. And really, I would be thinking about the FTX1F as my choice, but I'm wondering how much that head, being almost nearly 8 pounds, if that would really be well mounted in the dash, where I could get HF and VHF all as one. But I think I'd have to mount that more on the dash itself and not be hanging down like my FTM 400 is. There's an advantage of having both radios, and I can see just having one radio there as well, along with a phone mount. And we'll see where that eventually goes down the road. It'll be a little while before I get down to the FTX 1F to mount that in the vehicle as my radio of choice. But overall, I may have to consider another option for that if that is what I end up going with. But I think the A91 with a remote head, small like it is, will probably be the radio mounted before Christmas time here this year in that vehicle. And I can share that video as I go through that mount and install as well. I think running the wire up through the dash the second time will be a heck of a lot easier to run. Now that I've already got another rope or wire there, I might be able to pull some extra up through there and be able to chase it with that a lot easier. The vehicle overall, again, I'll show you that video in a second of what it looks like completed, and you've seen some of those completed photos as well. But again, it gives you that very much of an appearance of a stealth look, and I really like how this overall has turned out. And one of my next video series I'm going to be doing is talking about why do you install a radio inside your vehicle, and why do you want to do that. And so we'll be talking about that more in depth, and what some of the requirements and considerations are going about doing that and getting a radio installed, and what you need, and things to consider and think about. So anyway, thanks for joining me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and please share out these videos. Watch them. It helps the algorithm of being able to help this channel grow. I appreciate all the subscribers that have joined in the last month as well, here in October of 2025. And if you've not considered it yet, consider joining me over on patreon.com / the Ham Radio Guy to support the channel as well, and provide you can, as little as $2 a month, you can provide some income to the channel to be able to help provide more great content like this, and be able to share out this as well with more information that I have to be able to give you. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being a part of this. Until next time, Somebody 3.